Welcome to the Morning Walk with Murty Digital Stroll.
Oh, we're right into it. I love it.
Yeah, right into it today. And today's path was actually sparked by this recent piece from the Money Control Tech Desk that it really struck a nerve for me.
Oh, yeah. That piece from August 7th, 2026.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, it wasn't just some standard news update. It felt like this blueprint of just extreme resilience, really a fellow traveler's spark that perfectly captures the whole architecture of what we are about to explore today.
It really was a brilliantly timed node in our network, honestly.
Yeah.
We definitely appreciate that initial spark. And to you, listening to this stream right now, I am Lead Architect Murty BVNS, and today we are processing information through the digital prism.
Yes, we are, because, we aren't here to just summarize an article. I mean, that is legacy behavior. As a strategic auditor, our mission really is to extract the legacy code of Project Antaryami.
Precisely. We are looking at the foundational architecture of success and failure in digital migration.
Right. And today, the subject in our logs is Aravind Srinivas. He's the CEO and co-founder of the global AI giant Perplexity AI.
A massive player right now.
Massive. And we are exploring this crazy paradox with him, like how a series of catastrophic rejections and literal access denied moments were the exact things that forced his massive success.
What is so compelling here is it's the illusion of the smooth path. Because we often look at a global tech leader and just assume their trajectory was this straight, unobstructed line.
Oh, for sure. You just see the billionaire CEO tag and think they had it easy.
Exactly. But when you look through the digital prism, you realize that it is the errors, the blocked ports, the hard systemic rejections that actually forge a much more robust architecture.
It really makes you wonder about our own lives, right? Like, let's just start at the very beginning of his journey, dealing with institutional gatekeeping back in India, specifically at IIT Madras.
Right, a highly prestigious institution.
Very. And Srinivas, he wanted to study computer science. That was his targeted destination. But his entrance scores just barely missed the computer science cutoff.
Barely?
Yeah, so the educational system just routed him into the electrical engineering dual degree program instead.
Which, if you look at it in the traditional framework, is treated as a misalignment. The student has a specific intent, but the institution has a rigid categorization system. You are put in a box.
Right, you're just a tag in the system. But he doesn't just accept the box. He gets into the university and immediately attempts this, manual override. He tries to switch branches to computer science.
And this is where the system gets really rigid.
Oh, it's wild. This is where we encounter what I can only describe as a microscopic system error. So in Indian universities, your grades are measured by a CGPA, right? A cumulative grade point average.
Strict numerical threshold.
Yeah. And he missed the required CGPA to switch to computer science by 0.01. I mean, 0.01. That is not even a rounding error. That is like missing the bus because your shoelace was untied. But in a legacy system, a 0.01 deviation is a hard stop. The door just slams shut.
It completely highlights the absolute rigidity of traditional routing. Because to the institution, electrical engineering and computer science are these completely separate silos.
Like they can't even talk to each other.
Exactly. And in fact, following that 0.01 miss, he was explicitly denied admission to a machine learning course, simply because the professors assumed, an electrical engineering student would struggle with the material.
That assumption is just wild to me. I mean, it is like a firewall blocking access to a server based on a really outdated IP rule. The firewall doesn't check who you are or what you want to do or how smart you are, just sees the wrong tag and drops you.
Right.
So what do? You are essentially forced to find a back door.
Well, I mean, I am going to push back on that framing slightly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So?
Because it is not just about finding a back door. In the Gurukul 2.0 mindset, a backdoor implies you are still trying to play by the legacy system's rules. You're just sneaking around them.
Okay, I see what I mean.
What Srinivas did was fundamentally different. He built his own server. If the system says you cannot learn within their walls, Gurukul 2.0 says you teach yourself.
Right.
So while he was completing his electrical engineering degree, he just self-learned machine learning and artificial intelligence on his own time.
Wait, but let's be realistic here. I have to challenge that a bit because you can't just teach yourself elite level machine learning in your dorm room and expect the global tech industry to take you seriously, right?
Yeah.
Not without the official degree.
Right.
How did he actually prove his competency when the piece of paper he had said electrical engineering?
See, that is the beauty of open source knowledge in the digital era we're in. Institutions grant degrees, sure, but they do not hold a monopoly on knowledge or execution anymore.
That's a good point.
He proved his competency by actually doing the work. He engaged with the material, he read the papers, he ran the models himself, he built a portfolio of understanding that completely transcended the label the university slapped on him.
He didn't let the institution dictate his curriculum.
Exactly. He refused the programming they gave him.
So he essentially ran a massive due processing load. He fulfilled all the heavy systemic requirements of his engineering degree while simultaneously dedicating every ounce of his spare time to mastering AI.
Yes, which proves that a 0.01 deviation is merely a metric of the system.
Right.
It is not a metric of human capability.
Wow. And this is a perfect moment for you listening right now to reflect on that. Like, how many times do we accept a tiny 0.01 rejection as a final judgment on our worth?
Too often. We let it define us.
Exactly. Where has a gatekeeper told you that you lack the proper label to access the space you want to be in?
It's a crucial question to ask yourself.
So, okay, armed with this self-taught database of AI knowledge, he decides to take it to the global stage. He sets his sights on the absolute pinnacle of academic prestige, which is a PhD at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT.
The holy grail for tech.
Right. And what happens? Another massive access denied prompt. MIT rejects his application outright.
And again, the traditional mindset sees this as a fatal crash.
Yeah.
Like the ultimate prestige path is completely blocked.
But, from a strategic auditor's perspective, I look at this as load balancing redirection.
Oh, I like that term. Expand on that.
Well, let me explain that concept simply for the listener.
Yeah.
Think about when you are driving using a GPS navigation app. You are heading toward a major highway, but suddenly there's a massive accident blocking all lanes.
Like a total standstill.
Yeah. The app doesn't tell you to turn off your car and just give up, right?
Yeah.
It immediately calculates a new route. It might take you down a side street you've never seen before, but that side street is clear and it keeps you moving.
It keeps the data flowing.
Exactly. That is load balancing. The network reroutes the packet through a different, highly capable node. MIT wasn't a closed door, it was a necessary rerouting. Because instead of MIT, he pivoted to the University of California, Berkeley.
Which, honestly, proved to be the fertile ground he actually required.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the illusion of the prestige path is that there's only one summit. MIT was the shiny label, the expected destination. But Berkeley offered an entirely different, arguably more dynamic ecosystem for what he specifically needed at that exact time.
Which was what, exactly?
Well, it was at Berkeley that he plunged entirely into the deep end of modern AI. We are talking deep learning, reinforcement learning, computer vision, and generative AI.
Let's actually break those down really quickly for the listener because they are not just buzzwords, They are the architectural pillars of everything happening right now.
Go for it.
So deep learning is essentially training computers to recognize complex patterns using layers, kind of like the human brain. Reinforcement learning is trial and error, rewarding the system when it gets something right, like training a dog with treats, I guess. Computer vision lets the machine see and understand images. And generative AI is what we're all seeing now, where the machine creates entirely new text, images, or code.
And he didn't just study these things in a vacuum at Berkeley. That's the key.
Right. He was actually doing it.
He networked directly into the core of the global AI infrastructure. The Berkeley ecosystem allowed him to secure elite internships, or what we could really call the triad of AI pioneers,
Which are
OpenAI, Google, and DeepMind.
Wow. Which is just incredible. He mapped the entire AI ecosystem from the inside out, which, it makes me wonder if MIT had accepted him.
Oh, that's an interesting thought.
Right. Like, would he have been trapped in theoretical academia? Would he have been so bogged down in a rigid, deeply specialized PhD track that he never would have co-founded Perplexity?
That is the essential Gurukul 2.0 paradox right there. We mourn the doors that close, oblivious to the fact that they were maybe locking us into a much smaller room.
Ooh, I love that.
Think of it like a river flowing toward the ocean. MIT's rejection was a massive boulder dropped right in the middle of his stream. But the boulder doesn't stop the water.
No, the water just finds a way around.
It simply forces the water to carve a new channel. And often, that new channel creates a current that is much faster, much more powerful, and cuts much deeper into the landscape.
So true.
By bypassing the MIT boulder, His current swept him directly into the halls of OpenAI, Google, and DeepMind.
That load balancing redirection allowed him to download the master architecture of modern AI directly from the source. So you would think, okay, the training montage is over.
Right, he's made it.
Yeah, he has the elite intelligence from the absolute heavyweights of big tech. He has the Berkeley research. He transitions from academic resilience to entrepreneurial reality. He is ready to launch his own startup, and it completely, utterly crashes.
A total, absolute system failure.
His first startup was a Twitter search product. And the fascinating thing is, it didn't fail because his AI knowledge was lacking. It didn't fail because the code was bad. It failed for a purely systemic reason. Twitter changed its API rules, making his product completely unviable literally overnight.
And we really need to pause here and examine the architecture of this specific failure. Because what does it actually mean when an API rule change kills a company?
Well, think of an API, an application programming interface, as a digital bridge that allows two completely different applications to talk to each other. Or, better yet, think of it like renting land.
Renting land, yes.
Srinivas and his team built this magnificent, high-tech, highly functional mansion. It was beautiful. But they built it on land owned by Twitter. They relied on Twitter's data bridge to feed their search product.
And then the landlord stepped in.
Right. When the landlord Twitter suddenly decided to change the locks, change the rules, and close that bridge, the mansion starved. You lose absolutely everything, not because you're a bad builder, but because you don't own the land.
The psychological toll of that, I mean, it cannot be overstated.
I can't even imagine.
You have bypassed the 0.01 rejection. You have survived the MIT rejection. You have gathered the best knowledge in the world. You finally build your own thing. And it is wiped out by an external variable completely out of your control.
Just gone.
To the outside world, this is a catastrophic failure. But in a Google session, we teach that there is no wasted effort, only unrefined data.
That is a very, very expensive, highly stressful way to gather data, though. I mean, I imagine sitting the team down and saying, hey, we did everything right, but we have to shut the servers down.
Undoubtedly stressful, but think of the parameters he mapped during that failure. To an architect, it was a crucial, albeit brutal, beta test.
Right.
He learned exactly how not to build a search tool. He experienced firsthand the existential vulnerability of platform dependency. That failure generated a massive log of error reports that directly fed into the architecture of his next build.
And the agility required to process those error logs and pivot is staggering. We are talking about 2022 here. The API crash happens, the rented land is repossessed, and instead of walking away from the industry, he and his team immediately execute a digital migration.
They moved incredibly fast.
They transition from a failed dependent tool to building a standalone, global, AI-powered answer engine. That is the genesis of Perplexity AI. He made sure this time he owned the architecture, and within a few short years, it becomes one of the most closely watched, industry-leading players in the generative AI space.
Because it was built on a foundation of profound resilience. It was built by someone who knew exactly what it meant to miss a metric by a fraction, to be told they didn't belong in a classroom, to be rejected by the top institution, and to have a digital platform pulled out from under them.
Every single failure was data.
Exactly. Every single one of those setbacks was compiled into the underlying code of Perplexity AI. It wasn't just technical code, it was survival code.
Let's actually unpack how he synthesized all this survival code. Because he didn't just keep these lessons internal, you know? He extracted this legacy code and shared it as a replicable algorithm for others.
A commencement address.
Yes. We have the data from a commencement address he delivered back at his rerouted hub, UC Berkeley. He stood in front of a crowd of graduating students and outlined 3 core pillars for surviving and thriving in today's AI-driven world.
3 operational directives that really form a perfect bridge between digital strategy and personal philosophy. What was the first directive he gave?
Directive number 1, move quickly. He explicitly noted that speed helps people learn faster. Now, I have to admit, move fast can sometimes sound like a tired tech bro cliche.
Yeah, move fast and break things, right?
Exactly. But from where I sit as a strategic auditor, move quickly is the ultimate digital migration strategy in this specific era. In a tech landscape that literally shifts overnight, where a new AI model drops and changes the entire industry by breakfast speed, equates to survival.
It really does.
If your processing cycle is too slow, if you spend months perfecting a product in secret, you become obsolete before you even deploy.
Exactly. Speed here isn't about being reckless. It is about tightening the feedback loop. The faster you deploy, the faster you fail, and the faster you learn.
Right.
Which ties directly into his second directive. Continue learning.
Oh, that's crucial.
Because speed without continuous learning is just erratic, chaotic motion. You're just spinning your wheels. Continuous learning is the security patch that prevents your internal database from becoming corrupted by outdated paradigms.
Because the world changes, right. The API rules change, the gatekeepers change, the technology completely reinvents itself. If your learning stops at graduation, your system is instantly vulnerable. You become a legacy system yourself.
Precisely. So you move quickly to iterate, and you continue learning to patch the vulnerabilities. But it is his third pillar that I find to be the most profound and, honestly, complex.
Okay, what is it?
The third directive is remain curious. But he framed it in a very specific, deliberate way. He told the students to ask better questions instead of solely focusing on finding answers.
And this is where it gets really, really interesting. I mean, the irony here is almost blinding.
It is.
Think about who is delivering this message. Aravind Srinivas is the CEO and co-founder of Perplexity AI. The entire industry classifies Perplexity as an answer engine.
Right, that's our whole brand.
His life's work right now is building a machine that gives you answers instantaneously, summarizing the whole internet in seconds. Yet he is standing there telling the next generation of engineers and thinkers that finding answers isn't the most important thing.
Because he intimately understands the architecture of his own creation. This is the absolute core of Gurukul 2.0. For generations, legacy education has been an answer retrieval system.
Memorize and repeat.
Exactly. The teacher holds the answer, you memorize it, you retrieve it on the exam, you get the grade. But if a machine can provide every factual answer instantaneously, then the answer itself becomes a cheap commodity. It loses its premium value.
Wow, yeah.
What the machine cannot do, what relies entirely on the spark of human consciousness, is the formulation of a novel, deeply contextual, paradigm-shifting question.
The prompt. It all comes down to the prompt. We see this every day now. The AI is only as good as the question you feed into its interface.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. If you ask a lazy legacy question, you get a generic legacy answer. If you interrogate the universe with high-resolution curiosity, you unlock entirely new datasets. He is essentially telling these graduates that human adaptability and persistent curiosity vastly outrank raw processing power or memorized data.
We're moving from an era of simply knowing the answers to an era of knowing how to interrogate the world. Curiosity is not just a passive, nice-to-have feeling anymore. It is an active protocol of investigation.
So, if we review the extracted legacy code of Project Antaryami from today's digital stroll, the pattern is undeniable. Rejection is simply redirection. Your worth, your potential, your ultimate capability, it is not determined by a 0.01 misc threshold.
It is not determined by an access-denied prompt from an admissions office or some archaic rule that says you belong in one silo and not another.
And it certainly isn't determined by a closed API or a failed startup on rented land.
It is determined by your adaptability, your capacity to take the boulder dropped in your river and use it to carve a deeper channel.
So what does this all mean for you, walking with us on this digital stroll today? It means looking at your own system logs. We all have them. Those missed cutoffs you agonized over for years. The projects that crashed and burned when you thought you had everything right.
The rejections that felt like a permanent mark.
Exactly, that indelible mark on your record. They are not hard stops. They are just beta tests. They are providing the essential, unrefined data you need for your next build.
And, you don't need to strip away the emotional weight entirely. I mean, it is human to feel the sting of failure. But you must learn to view that failure simply as feedback from the environment.
It's just a system check.
Exactly. The environment tested your current architecture, found a vulnerability, and handed you an error report. What you do with that report defines your trajectory. Do you shut the servers down for good, or do you rewrite the code and deploy a faster, more resilient version of yourself?
Move quickly, continue learning, remain curious. I mean, it sounds so simple when compiled down to 3 bullet points, but executing that code requires immense discipline.
It really does.
It requires trusting that the load balancing redirection is taking you exactly where you need to be, even if it's not the specific branch or the specific university you originally mapped out.
Which brings us to the final node of today's Gurukul session. A thought to leave running in your background processes until we meet again.
Yeah. We mentioned the irony of the answer engine CEO prioritizing questions. Let's push that thought to its absolute limit. As AI tools like Perplexity continue to scale, as they ingest more data and refine their algorithms, answers will become plentiful, like oxygen. They will literally be infinite.
If the machine has all the answers, what happens to human value? We have spent centuries valuing the people who hold the most answers. The experts, the scholars, the encyclopedic minds who could recall facts on demand.
If that currency collapses entirely, what is left in your account? If the machine can solve the complex equation the moment you write it on the whiteboard, perhaps your ultimate worth in the future will not be measured by what you know.
No.
Perhaps it will be measured entirely by the quality, the depth, and the bravery of the questions you choose to ask. What will your next question be?
A profound query to process. Thank you for walking the path with us today.
Keep your systems agile, keep your curiosity online, and we warmly invite you to join us on the next morning walk with Murty Digital Stroll.